Hello and welcome to chapter 12 of Warhorse, and it is Monday the 29th of June, and it's a bit of a wet, miserable day, isn't it? We've had quite a few of those days recently, a bit of a contrast to last week when it was really sunny on a couple of occasions, but I certainly know my plants and grass desperately need lots of water. So it's not such a bad thing, I suppose. Well, we're on chapter 12, and if you remember when we left it last, some really kind of sad news for Joey and Topthorn, that they had to leave their beloved Emily alone. They had to leave her behind, and they had to go off on war duties. And I just think, they had such an amazing life with her. Even though they were working on the farm, she really did dote on them. She really looked after them, fed them, pampered them. They had an amazing time. And now it's back to the reality of war. Okay, so before we start, I'm just going to go over some of the key words today. So, not all of them. There's literally about 15. Michael Mapurgo likes to put lots of tricky words in there, and there's some words I'm like, not sure about that one. So I'll put them in the context of their sentences, and then some of them I'll go over at the end. If I do too many at once, it just be there forever. Okay, so let's just have a look at some of these words. Let's over. Okay, so our first word is idyllic. With the few idyllic months we spent with Emily and her grandfather. So that's the sentence from the book. And think of what the root word of idyllic means. Idyllic. Harsh. It was a harsh and bitter experience for Topthorn and me. Arduous. The work was more arduous now. Interminable. The lines of wounded seemed interminable now. So have a think about that. You've got the prefix of in and the suffix of able. Compulsion. So you might have heard of that, a similar word before, like compulsive. Does it mean very similar? The men were driven now by a fearful compulsion that left no room for. Spasmodically. We received our corn ration only spasmodically. Now in the winter. So just think about what happens in the winter, that the rations are obviously going down because in the summer there's loads of grass and corn everywhere, but in the winter there's hardly anything at all. So their rations would obviously have to change there. Prolonged. So think about that prefix of pro and that word in the middle, long. The battles seem to be more furious and prolonged now. And then diminutive, which I'm sure you've heard before. In spite of their diminutive size, they were at least equal in strength, in stamina. So have a think, look those words up, or just predict, quite good to predict what those words mean now. And then think, right, and then look it up in a dictionary. And some more words I just want to go over just right at the end of the chapter as well, okay? So let me just flip me back over.